I'm going to talk to you about one of some people's favorite things that I talk to them about that I get to do. When I'm a set costumer, one of my main focuses is continuity, and that's making sure that things are consistent through the film. It is probably one of the most stressful parts of the job. I don't want to say hardest, but it can be difficult depending on the film and the project and the things you need to work on, and sometimes even who you're working with. And that could be either people in your department or actors or all different kinds of things. But continuity is a big thing. It's one of the #1 thing that, you know, when you go onto IMDb and you look at the things, people always like to post about continuity errors. So that is, depending on how big of an error, is one of the big things I will red flag. So one of the first videos that I posted a few weeks ago was on the show Little Women, how much I loved that film. But when I went and saw it in the theaters, like, they had a huge continuity error right at the very beginning of the film. So, and I could be wrong. So those of you that have seen it, let me know if you notice this, or go back and watch it and see if you see it yourself. So at the very beginning of the film, the girl's talking to the editor, and she basically is just wearing what she's wearing, and she has a small bag, right? And then you see her like running to her house. And the first time I saw it, I didn't think she had a coat on, but when I watched it from home, I noticed she does have a coat on. It just blends in with her dress really well, and then she has the one bag. And then all of a sudden, it cuts to her coming into the house, which you're assuming is her coming into the house from right after talking to this newspaper editor. Now, they could have tried to say there was a time lapse in there and it was another day, but it doesn't really read that way. So she comes in and all of a sudden she has a different coat on, she has a hat, and she has gloves. And she doesn't have the same bag that she had before. And again, maybe they were trying to say this is something that happened and now this is a separate day that happened, therefore it would make sense that she was coming in with all of a sudden a hat and gloves and a different bag and a different coat. But if they were trying to portray it as coming from the scene, from the editor's shop and into her home, then that's a huge error right there. And that was the major one that I saw. There's one scene, and I tried to take a screenshot of it. I'll see if I can post it on here, if I can edit that. Okay, but there's a scene where she's fighting with the boy at a certain point, and there's a part where his clothes kind of gather towards the back. You know, when you're yelling and angry and actors start doing this kind of thing, my eyes get glued to the screen, because another thing I have to look for is their mic packs, and to make sure that their mic packs aren't showing. And so there's a scene that is probably not easy for most people to tell, but the way that the clothing kind of gathers and sits on the back of him, on his lower back, I can almost guarantee that a part of it snagged or kind of got caught in his mic pack. And I could be wrong, maybe it just is gathered really weird right there, but I kind of doubt it. So that's one thing that I noticed. So those are the kinds of things that I look for in film. Mic wires is a big one. I started watching Supernatural, and in one of the very first episodes, there's a scene where the boy, you know, raises his arms above his head and his shirt comes up to snag, and you see the black line of mic wire. Sometimes I'll see it, you know, on a flash of clothes somewhere. Pretty rare. I don't see that one as much, but the mic packs in the back is a big one to watch. Mic wires, that's a big thing I watch. But yeah, continuity on clothes, especially because I've worked on a lot of films that need coats. I work in Utah, so we do a lot of these outdoorsy scenes, and there's a lot of continuity of coats. Coats coming in, coats going out, coats on the rack. Did we grab it? Did we not? She's coming in from outside. He's coming in from outside. We need to have different coats. So, or scarves. Oh my goodness. If you've worked with me before, you know how much I tell people that I literally have nightmares about scarves, because scarf continuity is, they're a nightmare. Especially, you know, it's really hot and we're trying to portray that it's really cold, and so actors are taking them off in between takes, which is totally understandable because I don't need them, you know, having a heat stroke or anything. So having to retie scarves, was the right loop over the left loop? How long was the string? Wait, was it flipped over the corner? This. Anyway, scarf continuity, not my favorite thing. Sometimes things will happen in scenes as well that you don't really plan or aren't part of the script, that you kind of have to keep an eye on. Maybe in the middle of the scene, they, you know, unbutton their sleeves and push them up to do a project, and then we'll break for lunch, and then we come back, and then the actor forgot that was a movement that they did in the middle of the scene, and so I'll have to remind them about something like that. Sometimes things happen in scenes. I mean, a lot of rom-coms, right? The coffee spill, the bump into you, and the whatever spills, the paint falls on you, whatever it is. And usually you have multiple clothes, but that's something you kind of have to keep an eye on as well. So if you haven't seen What a Girl Wants with Amanda Bynes, you can rent it on Amazon right now for 99 cents. And there is a scene in there where the, I don't want to say stepmom, but the fiance of the dad goes to answer the phone, and she totally switches up her, she like takes off an earring to answer the phone, and then all of a sudden the next scene she's replacing the other earring, but then she goes back to the earring. So kind of pay really close attention to this scene. So go rent that and watch that. See if you can see what I'm talking about there. Those are the little kinds of things that I do when I'm on set dealing with continuity. Just making sure things like that don't happen and other things. So what films have you watched that you've seen clothing continuity? There's all different types of continuity errors that happen, but I particularly want to know what clothing ones have you seen or noticed. Put those in the comments, or comment on my Instagram if I post about this video, and let me know what your thoughts are. Hope you guys are enjoying your time at home. Hope you guys are finding fun things to watch, and now you have something that you can look for. So Little Women has the error you can look for. What a Girl Wants has an error you can look for. Trying to think off the top of my head if there's other ones I can think of. Oh, A Night Before Christmas has, we'll just go over that one later. There's a whole thing in The Night Before Christmas, but it's slightly continuity and slightly just really weird. But there's a huge scene in that one with the guy's shirt, and I can't tell when he's wearing what. So check out that one. But I'll kind of go more in detail about things like that another time. And there is a Harry Potter scene where you kind of see Hermione's mic pack when she leans forward. See if you can find that one. Those are some of the bigger films with continuity errors that I can think of right at the moment. But yeah, comment below if you've seen one, and then you guys can pay attention to other people's comments to see, oh yeah, I want to check that film out, and let me know.